Hey guys, in this video I'm going to explore Django a little bit. Specifically, I'm going to look into custom user models. So, since version 1 of Django, the default Django user model has used the same username, password, email, first name and last name, and you also have a few other options. So, it's very typical when you create a new project that you replace this user model with the custom user model, so that you can use email for email for authentication and combine first name, last name and similar. So it's actually very simple to do this. So I'm just going to jump straight into it and explain as I go forward. So I've created an empty Django project called Explore Django Custom User Model. And then in here I want to create a new app for the user. So Python manage.py start app auth user. And then if I go to Visual Studio Code where I have the project open, I can go into Explore, the name of the project, and into settings.py because I need to do some changes here. In here I want to set the app inside the installed apps, so auth user, and I also want to tell Django to use this database model which we're going to create as the default one. And to do that we say auth user model equals auth user dot use user with capital U, and this will point to the database model called user, which I will create right away now. So if I now open up auth user models.py, here I can begin by setting up a custom user manager. So class custom user manager, and then here I just pass in user manager, which I need to import from Django. So at the top here I say from django.contrib.auth.models import user manager, because now I want to override this with my own functionality. First I want to create a function for creating users. Def underscore create user. Need to pass in self, email, password and extra fields. And then I want to check that the user has provided an email address. So if not email, then we say raise value error. You have not provided a valid email address. So then this message will be shown to the user. And then I want to clean this data a little bit. So email equals self.normalize email. This is built into Django to do. And we just pass in the parameter from up there. Then I create the user by saying user equals self.model. Pass in email equals email. And the extra fields like that. Then I can say user.set password, because you need to use a function to set the password. We can't just pass it in there. And password. User.save using equals self.db. Then we say return user. So then with lowercase. So we return the user back to the place we have called this function from. Before I continue, I just want to say thanks to all of my patrons. If you too want to support me, you will find a link in the description below. And whenever we create this, I want to call also the create user functionality here. Self email equals none and password equals none and extra fields, because I want to set some default values if it's a regular user, and I want to have default fields if it's a super user. So here we say extra fields dot set default is staff. This can be set to false because regular users should not be staff and have access to the backend and similar. Extra fields dot set default is super user false. And then we create this here again by saying return self.create underscore create user email password, and extra fields. This is typically then name and similar. And if we are going to use the create super user functionality in the command line, we say def create super user. Oops. And here we also need to can just copy all of this actually and paste it. And then here we say that is stuff is true and is super user is also true, because these should have access to this. So now we have the possibility to create a regular user and super users. And then we can set up the database model. Class user. This should append or use the abstract user, so abstract base user and permissions permissions mix in like that. You can see here now I get an error because I haven't imported this, but this goes up here together with user manager. So abstract base user, and at the end, in the middle of these two, we say permission mix in like that. So still get this error, abstract base user, there, abstract, sorry for the typo, abstract base user. Now that was working. And then I can define which fields I want to have here. And I want a field for email, and that is models.email field, blank equals true, and default is empty, and this has to be unique, so unique equals true. Now set the name, models.char field, max length can be 255, and blank equals true, and the default value is empty, in case you don't provide a value here. And then I have the three properties for active, staff, and super user. So is active equals models.boolean field. Default is true, because I want all of the user who is created to be default active, so they can log in and similar. If you want to have emails before they are active and similar, you can set this default to false or whatever you want. So just copy this, paste and paste, replace with is super user. This is default false because it's more typical to create regular users than the super user, and is staff. This should also be false. I also want a field for knowing when the user last logged in and when the user joined or signed up. So date joined equals models.date time field, and this has to be default equals time zone dot now. So now I get a new error here because I haven't imported, so it should be C as well. So I need to import this from Django.utils import time zone. You could also use the typical auto now add if you wanted to do that. And then to keep track of when the user last logged in, we say last login equals models.date time field. Default, no, this doesn't have a default because we don't know when the user logged in. So blank equals true and null equals true. And then we say objects equals custom user manager. So now this here points to the user manager we have created here. And this is typical when you say, for example, user.objects.all to get all of the users. Then we use this instead of the built-in one which Django comes with. And then we want to specify which fields, what field the username is. So username field equals email, and which field is the email field. So email field equals email, no comma, and which fields should be required. I just want to set all of these to an empty list, like that. And then we need to specify the class meta, verbose name equals user, and verbose name plural equals users. You can use your own language here if you want to do that. And I also want to add the get full name function which Django comes with. So def get full name self return self.name. And if you only want to get the first name or the short name, which Django calls this, so get short name, return self.name or self.email.split. We split this at the @ symbol and get the first value there, which is often the name or whatever you put in there. So now I can save this and update the database. Python manage.py make migrations and Python manage.py migrate. Great, everything seems to be working here. Let me try to create a super user so I can log in to the admin interface. Python manage.py create super user. Now actually use the function we created here, create super user. And as you can see here, it now asks for my email, hello@django.com, and then a password. See, it didn't ask for name and similar, which is often do in the other case. So if I now run the server again, then I can open up this in Chrome, log into the backend, and now it asks for my email and not my username. So hello@django.com, then the password I provided. As you can see here now, the user doesn't appear here because it's not a part of Django anymore. So if I now go into AutoUsers admin.py, I can register it here. So from.models import user and admin.site.register user. So refresh and now it appears here. So now I can go into it and you see the user I created. Now you can see a hashed version of your password, which groups I'm connected to, permissions, email, name, and similar. And I just want to show one more thing. In models.py we also created this get short name, which splitted my email. So if I scroll up to the top, it actually says welcome hello, which is the first part of there. But if I set my name here, save, it's automatically replaced with the get name or self.name. Nice. So now you should know how to create custom user models. This is something you typically do before you start doing anything else when you create Django projects, because you don't want to mess this up with other functionality. Hope you liked this video, and if you did, please hit like below. If you want more content like this, you need to subscribe to my channel. See you in the next video.